The grand chamber of Celestia Station fell silent as Elder Zorkax approached the central podium. The 12 representatives of the Galactic Council watched with varying degrees of interest and concern. This emergency session had been called with unusual urgency, and rumors had spread quickly among the diplomatic corps. "Esteemed colleagues," Zorkax began, his translucent skin glowing faintly under the chamber lights, "I present evidence that cannot be ignored." With a wave of his six-fingered hand, the Elder Veltraxian activated the holographic display. Images of Earth appeared, followed by rapid-fire data showing technological advancement curves, military expansion metrics, and resource consumption patterns. Humans have progressed from primitive combustion engines to rudimentary space travel in less than 200 years, Zorkax continued. Their rate of advancement exceeds all predictive models. More concerning is their unpredictability. Representative Mira of the Andorran Republic leaned forward. They are young as a species. All young races show erratic development. Not like this, Zorkax countered. He displayed footage of human conflicts alongside scientific breakthroughs. They create medicine and weapons with equal passion. They speak of peace while preparing for war. No other species we have encountered contains such contradictions. Council Leader Dravek raised a hand to quiet the murmurs spreading through the chamber, his gray skin wrinkled with concern as he studied the data. "What do you propose, Elder?" Dravek asked. "Protocol containment," Zorkax stated firmly. The chamber erupted in voices. Protocol containment had only been used twice in the Council's 50,000-year history. It authorized coordinated action to limit a species' development without their knowledge, through economic manipulation, technological sabotage, and diplomatic isolation. Ambassador Nix Talia of the Sephiran Collective stood. Her crystalline form caught the light as she spoke. "Containment is extreme. Humans have not violated any council directives. They do not even know we exist." "Yet," Zorkax replied, "their communication technologies improve daily. They will detect us soon. And, when they do, their reaction cannot be predicted. The data suggests they will perceive us as a threat. Because we would be threatening them," said Krell, the Nexus Collective representative. "Implementing containment creates the very enemy we fear." The debate continued for hours. Representatives argued about evidence interpretation, historical precedents, and ethical concerns. Throughout it all, Zorkax remained firm, emphasizing the risk of allowing humanity to develop unchecked. "The time to act is now," he insisted. "While we can still implement controls subtly, wait too long, and our options become limited." Finally, Council Leader Dravek called for the vote. Those in favor of implementing protocol containment regarding the species known as humans indicate now. One by one, lights appeared on the central display. The Veltraxian Empire, yes. The Sephiran Collective, yes. The Doraxian Hierarchy, yes. The votes continued until 10 members had approved the measure. Only the Andorran Republic and Nexus Collective opposed. "The motion carries," Dravek announced soberly. "Protocol containment will be implemented regarding humanity, effective immediately." Ambassador Nix Talia was selected to lead the containment committee. Her experience with developing worlds made her the logical choice for such delicate work. The Council needed someone who could implement restrictions without alerting the humans to their actions. "We must proceed with caution," Nix Talia warned as she accepted the assignment. "If humans detect our interference, it could accelerate the very behaviors we seek to prevent." As the Council session ended, representatives departed with mixed feelings. Most believed they had acted to protect galactic stability. A few harbored doubts. None of them imagined that their carefully guarded vote had already been compromised. In a small observation room 3 decks below, a communication device activated. The device, undetectable by Council security systems, transmitted a simple encrypted message. "Containment protocol authorized, Phase 2 initiated." The recipient was over 20 light-years away, in a nondescript office in Kansas City. When the message arrived, Alan Russell nodded to himself and reached for his phone. It was time to introduce humanity to the galactic community. Just not in the way the council expected. 3 months after the vote, council leader Dravek stared at the message displayed on his private terminal. He read it a third time, still unable to believe what he was seeing. "This must be a mistake," he muttered to his aide. The message was simple and direct. "The United Earth government formally requests observer status with the Galactic Council. A diplomatic delegation is prepared to arrive at coordinates of your choosing within the next 30 standard days." It was signed by someone named Alan Russell, Earth's Minister of Interstellar Relations, a title that shouldn't exist. Dravik called an emergency session of the council, his 4 hearts beating rapidly as he composed himself. Within hours, all 12 representatives had assembled in the secure chamber. "How is this possible?" asked Ambassador Nix Talia after Dravik shared the message. "Containment procedures were only initiated 2 months ago. We've barely begun restricting their technological development." Elder Zorkax's skin paled to an almost white shade. "They shouldn't even know we exist, let alone have established a government department for interstellar relations." "Could it be a coincidence?" suggested the Duraxian representative. "Perhaps they're sending messages randomly into space, hoping to contact someone." That theory was dismissed when a second message arrived during their meeting. It contained specific coordinates for a meeting location near Jupiter, along with the names of 3 human diplomats who would represent Earth: Alan Russell, Diane Carter, and John Patterson. "They know exactly who we are," said Krell of the Nexus Collective. "The question is how long they've known." Council diplomat Vexmore, who had been investigating since the first message arrived, entered the chamber with alarming news. "We found evidence that our surveillance systems have been compromised," Vexmore reported, his antennae twitching nervously. "Someone has been accessing our communications for at least 7 years." The chamber fell silent. 7 years. The humans hadn't just discovered the council, they had been watching and listening all along. "What about protocol containment?" asked Nix Italia. "Do they know about the vote?" Vexmore looked at the floor. "We must assume they do." Panic spread through the chamber. Some representatives called for immediate military action. Others suggested denying everything. A few considered offering apologies. "We cannot appear weak," insisted Elder Zorkax. "Nor can we admit our intentions. We must meet with them and assess their true capabilities while maintaining the fiction that we welcome their emergence onto the galactic stage." After hours of debate, the council agreed to meet the human delegation on Celestia Station. They would pretend the containment vote never happened while gathering information about how humans had discovered them. Meanwhile, in a secure room aboard the Earthship Defiant, Alan Russell reviewed the council's private communications about the upcoming meeting. Their panicked reactions confirmed what he had suspected. The aliens had severely underestimated humanity. "They've agreed to meet us on their station," Alan told his team. "They're trying to control the situation." Lisa Franklin, their tech specialist, smiled as she monitored the council's communications. "They still don't understand how we breached their systems or how much we know." John Patterson, the military attaché, studied the station schematics they had secretly obtained. "Their security protocols are impressive, but nothing we can't handle." Diane Carter, the science officer, looked up from her analysis of council technology. "They think we're decades behind them technologically. That misunderstanding works in our favor." Alan nodded, his expression serious. "Remember, our goal isn't confrontation. We just want a seat at the table they tried to deny us." As the Defiant accelerated toward the meeting point, Alan thought about the thousands of people back on Earth who had worked for decades to prepare for this moment. Scientists, soldiers, and spies who had pieced together the truth about humanity's place in the galaxy. The Council had voted to control humanity, but they would soon discover that humans had their own plans. The arrival bay of Celestia Station was decorated with colorful banners representing all Council species. It was a hasty attempt to create a welcoming atmosphere for the human delegation. Staff members rushed about, making last-minute preparations, as Council representatives argued over protocol. "We cannot give them full diplomatic honors," insisted Elder Zorkax. It would set a dangerous precedent. We cannot insult them either, countered Mira of the Andorran Republic. Not if they already know about the containment vote. They compromised by assigning a junior diplomat named Lyra to greet the humans. She nervously reviewed her briefing, materials as the station's sensors detected an approaching ship. That can't be right, muttered the sensor operator. The vessel is using drive technology we've never seen before. The human ship docked with surprising precision. When the airlock opened, 3 humans stepped onto the station. Lyra was struck by how ordinary they looked compared to the diverse species of the Council. Yet something about their confident posture made her uneasy. "Welcome to Celestia Station," she said, performing the formal greeting gesture. "I am Junior Diplomat Lyra, assigned to assist you during your stay." The lead human stepped forward. "Thank you for your welcome. I am Alan Russell, Earth's Minister of Interstellar Relations. These are my colleagues, Science Officer Diane Carter and Military Attaché John Patterson." Alan spoke perfect galactic standard, without any translation device visible. This detail wasn't lost on Security Chief Krax, who watched from a hidden monitoring station. "How did they learn our language?" he asked his team. "Implement full surveillance protocol alpha. I want to know everything they do, everywhere they go." Lyra led the humans through the station toward their quarters. She noted how they showed no amazement at the alien technology around them. Instead, they observed everything with studied interest, as if confirming things they already knew. "We've prepared a welcome banquet for this evening," Lyra explained. "All council representatives will attend." "We look forward to it," Alan replied. "We've brought gifts from Earth for each representative." The gifts were presented during the banquet, simple objects that appeared primitive at first glance. A wooden music box for the Andorran representative, a glass sculpture for Ambassador Nix Talia, a small mechanical clock for Elder Zorkax. Council. Scientists discreetly scanned these items but found nothing remarkable about them, just craftwork using basic materials. Yet something about their design seemed oddly advanced. The clock, in particular, kept perfect time without any power source they could detect. Conversation flowed awkwardly at first, with council members trying to hide their surprise at humanity's sudden appearance. They asked carefully worded questions about Earth's technology and society, hoping to determine how much humans had developed. The humans answered politely but revealed little. Instead, they asked questions about council history and protocol, as if they were simply curious newcomers. The tension in the room shifted when John Patterson, seemingly making casual conversation with the Duraxian representative, mentioned the crystal caves of Duraxia Prime. "I've heard they're quite beautiful this time of year," he said. "The way the triple moons reflect through them creates a light display unlike anywhere else in the galaxy." The Duraxian froze mid-gesture. Information about Duraxia's crystal caves was restricted. Even many council members didn't know about this natural wonder on the Duraxian homeworld. Similar moments occurred throughout the evening. Diane Carter discussed a rare flowering plant from the Sephiron's home planet. Alan referred to historical, council decisions that weren't in public records. With each conversation, the council members grew more uncomfortable. The humans weren't just aware of the council's existence, they possessed detailed knowledge about their worlds, their history, and their most guarded secrets. As the banquet ended, Elder Zorkax whispered urgently to Council Leader Dravek. "This isn't just a diplomatic incident," he said. "This is a security breach on a scale we've never experienced." Dravek nodded grimly. "Call an emergency session. No humans. We need to talk. Now." The council's private chamber felt smaller than usual, as all 12 representatives crowded around the central table. Security screens blocked all signals from entering or leaving the room. Guards stood at every door. "They know too much," Elder Zorkax said, pounding his fist on the table. "The humans must have spies throughout our territories." Council Leader Dravik held up his hands for silence. "We need facts, not panic. What exactly do they know? And how do they know it?" Security Chief Krax displayed his findings on the room's main screen. "They speak our language fluently. They know details about our homeworlds that aren't in any public record. Most concerning of all, their ship uses technology we don't understand. What about protocol containment? Asked Nix Talia. Do they know about the vote? They haven't mentioned it directly, said Krax, but their behavior suggests they might. We should proceed with the containment plan immediately, insisted Zorkax. Use military force if necessary. These humans are clearly more dangerous than we thought. Mira of the Andorran Republic stood up angrily. And start an interspecies war? I voted against containment from the beginning. Now I suggest we abandon it entirely and treat humans as equals. As the council argued, they didn't know their secure room wasn't secure at all. In the guest quarters assigned to the human delegation, Lisa Franklin sat cross-legged on the floor with a small device in her lap. The tech specialist hadn't been introduced to the council yet. Officially, she was just a staff member. In reality, she was Earth's best communications expert. The device on her lap showed a real-time feed of the council's emergency meeting. Every word, every gesture was visible on her screen. They're panicking, she told the others. Zorkax wants to use military force. The Andorran is defending us. Alan nodded as he studied the feed. Just as we expected. Their fear is making them divide into factions. Should we confront them about the containment vote? Asked Diane. Not yet, said Alan. Let's see how far they're willing to go first. Their conversation was interrupted by a sharp knock at the door. John opened it to find Security Chief Krax with 4 armed guards. Our sensors detected unusual energy readings from this room, Krax said stiffly. I must insist on inspecting your quarters. Lisa quickly slid her device under a cushion as Alan welcomed the security team inside. Of course, Chief Krax. We have nothing to hide. Krax's scanning equipment immediately pointed toward the hidden device. What is this? He demanded, moving toward the cushion. Lisa smiled pleasantly. Just my personal meditation aid. Would you like to see it? Before Krax could answer, she pulled out the device and activated it. The security scanner in Krax's hand went blank. What did you do? He asked, tapping his now useless equipment. Nothing harmful, Lisa assured him. Our technology just operates on different principles than yours. Sometimes they don't interact well. Krax left the room frustrated but unable to prove any wrongdoing. As soon as he was gone, Alan activated his own communication device. It's time for the next phase, he said. Contact home base and tell them we're ready. Meanwhile, in another part of the station, Alan's official request was being processed by stunned council staff. He had asked for access to historical vote records, specifically any votes regarding humanity. The council had 2 options: deny the request and confirm suspicions, or grant limited access and hope the humans wouldn't discover the full truth. After consulting with Council Leader Dravik, the staff prepared a heavily edited version of the records, removing all mentions of protocol containment. What they didn't know was that the humans already had the complete, unedited records. They had accessed them years ago when they first discovered the Council's existence. The official request was just a test to see how the Council would respond. As Diane reviewed the edited records later that day, she shook her head. They removed everything important. They're still trying to hide what they did. Then it's time to show our hand, said Alan. Tomorrow we let them know exactly what we know. The main council chamber was filled to capacity the next morning. News of the human delegation had spread throughout Celestia Station, and representatives from non-council worlds had arrived to observe the historic meeting. The visitors' gallery buzzed with excited whispers as everyone waited for the humans to arrive. Council Leader Dravik called for order as the human delegation entered the chamber. Alan Russell led his team to the speaker's podium, his face betraying no emotion. Honored representatives of the Galactic Council, Alan began. On behalf of Earth, I thank you for this opportunity to address you. His voice was calm and measured, showing none of the nervousness expected from a species making first contact with a galactic government. Yesterday, we requested access to council records regarding humanity. We received them and found them incomplete. A murmur ran through the chamber. Council members shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Let me be direct. Alan continued. 3 months ago, this council voted to implement protocol containment against Earth. You plan to restrict our technological development, sabotage our economy, and ensure we remained isolated from the galactic community. The chamber erupted in shocked voices. Non-council observers looked to the council members for explanation. Elder Zorkax's skin turned a dark purple with anger. Nixtalia closed her eyes in resignation. "How dare you make such accusations?" Zorkax shouted above the noise. Alan nodded to Diane, who activated a small device. A holographic projection appeared above the podium, showing a perfect recreation of the council's vote on containment. Every word, every gesture was exactly as it had happened 3 months ago. "This is a fabrication," insisted Zorkax. "Is it?" Alan asked quietly. He nodded again, and the projection showed Council Leader Dravek in private conversation with security. Chief Krax after the vote discussing specific containment strategies. The chamber fell silent. "We've known about the Galactic Council for years," Alan explained. "A Council scout ship crashed in the Pacific Ocean in 2052. The crew didn't survive, but their technology did." Greg Martinez, the human delegation's chief scientist who had remained in the background until now, stepped forward. "We reverse-engineered their surveillance systems," Greg said. "It gave us the ability to monitor Council communications. We learned your languages, studied your cultures, and prepared for the day we would join the galactic community." "Impossible," whispered a Council technician. "Our technology is too advanced for humans to understand." Greg smiled and activated another device. A glowing sphere appeared in his hand, hovering over his palm. "This is our version of your faster-than-light communication system," he explained. "Except ours uses 40% less energy and works across greater distances." He passed the sphere to the nearest council scientist, who examined it with visible shock. "This isn't just copied technology," the scientist admitted. "They've improved it." Council Leader Dravek raised his hands for silence. "Even if what you say is true, you must understand our concerns. Your species has advanced rapidly in unpredictable ways. The containment vote was motivated by caution, not malice." "We understand caution," Alan replied. "What we don't accept is control. Earth has fought too many wars, overcome too many challenges to surrender our independence to anyone, even a galactic authority." His words hung in the air. The council chamber remained silent as everyone processed this turning point in galactic politics. "So," asked Nixtalia finally, "are you here to threaten us? To demand compensation for our planned containment?" Alan shook his head. "Neither. We're here to offer an alternative." He looked around the chamber, meeting the eyes of various representatives before continuing. "Instead of containment, we propose cooperation. Instead of control, we suggest partnership. Humanity doesn't want to disrupt the galactic order. We just want our rightful place within it." Council Leader Dravek leaned forward. "And if we refuse?" Alan's expression remained neutral, but his eyes hardened slightly. "That would be unfortunate. For everyone." The council called for a 1-hour recess to discuss the humans' revelation. When they returned, the chamber felt different. Some representatives looked defeated, others curious, and a few seemed angry. Council Leader Dravek invited Alan to present Earth's proposal in detail. Alan stepped aside and introduced a new member of their delegation. "This is Susan Campbell, Earth's chief economic advisor." Susan was a tall woman with gray hair and calm eyes. She carried no visible technology, just a small cloth bag. Her simple presence commanded attention. "The Galactic Council faces several ongoing challenges," Susan began. "The Duraxian hierarchy suffers from resource shortages on their outer colonies. The Sephiran collective struggles with a virus affecting their crystalline communication networks. The Nexus worlds have reported growing instability in their atmospheric regulators." She listed problems affecting nearly every council race. Problems that were supposed to be secret. "Humanity excels at finding creative solutions," Susan continued. "We propose a technology exchange program. We share our innovations, you share yours. Together we solve problems neither of us could solve alone." Susan opened her cloth bag and removed a small plant. It had silver leaves and a faint blue glow. "This is a bioengineered organism we developed. It can purify water contaminated by heavy metals, like those affecting Duraxian colony worlds." She placed the plant on the table and removed a small chip next. "This contains code that can patch the vulnerability in Cepheran communication crystals. Our programmers identified the flaw and fixed it within days of studying the system." One by one, Susan presented simple solutions to complex problems facing Council worlds. Each demonstration was met with increasing surprise and interest. The Andorran representative was the first to openly support the human proposal. The Nexus representative quickly followed. Others remained hesitant, watching for a lead from Council. Leader Dravik. Before Dravik could respond, a large hologram appeared in the center of the chamber. It showed the Veltraxian Emperor, Zorvex, Elder Zorkax's superior. "This meeting is a disgrace," the Emperor's voice boomed. "Humans are manipulating you. They threaten our security and sovereignty." The Emperor's unexpected appearance silenced the chamber. "The Veltraxian Empire will not recognize any agreement with humans," he continued. "If this council grants them any status, we will consider it an act against our interests. Military options will be considered." The threat hung in the air. Several representatives who had seemed supportive now looked uncertain. The Emperor's hologram vanished as abruptly as it had appeared. A tense silence followed, until John Patterson, the human military attaché, stepped forward. "With respect to the Council, and to the Veltraxian Empire, threats are unnecessary." John activated a small device on his wrist. The chamber's main display screen changed to show a star map. It highlighted the positions of various ships throughout Council space. "These red dots represent Veltraxian military vessels," John explained. "These blue dots represent Earth ships that have been shadowing them for the past 6 months." The display showed blue dots near every red one, ships that had apparently been following Veltraxian vessels completely undetected. "We have no desire for military conflict," John continued, "but Earth has prepared for every possibility." Council security officers frantically checked their own systems, confirming what seemed impossible. Human ships had indeed penetrated their space undetected. "How many ships do you have out there?" asked Security Chief Krax. "Enough," John replied simply. Council Leader Dravik raised his hands for order as the chamber erupted in voices. "This demonstration serves no one," he said firmly. "Humans, you come offering partnership while showing military capability. These mixed messages concern us." Alan stepped forward again. "We show strength not to threaten, but to establish respect. History teaches us that equals make better partners than subjects." He looked at each council member in turn. "You voted to control humanity because you feared us. We ask you now to know us instead." 3 council representatives who had originally voted for containment now shifted in their seats, exchanging glances. The balance of power was changing. The negotiations continued for 3 days. The council chamber became a place of intense debate as representatives argued over humanity's place in the galactic community. Each day, the human delegation presented more evidence of their capabilities and more solutions to long-standing problems. Elder Zorkax and his supporters remained firmly opposed to any agreement. The Andorran and Nexus representatives advocated for full human membership in the council. The remaining members were caught in the middle, weighing their options carefully. On the 3rd day, 3 representatives who had originally voted for containment announced they were changing their position. The Cepheran ambassador spoke for all 3. "We have seen enough to know that containment is not only impossible but undesirable," she said. "Humanity offers innovations we need. We support granting them observer status with a path to full membership." This shift created a new majority within the council. Elder Zorkax stormed out of the chamber in protest, his translucent skin glowing bright red with anger. Council Leader Dravik called for a final vote. The result was 7-4 in favor of granting humans observer status. The protocol containment order was officially rescinded. "We offer this compromise," Dravik announced. "Humanity will receive observer status for 1 standard year. During that time, we will establish joint technological exchanges and military cooperation exercises. If all goes well, We will consider full membership when the observation period ends. Alan accepted the offer with a respectful bow. Earth thanks the Council for its wisdom. We look forward to working together for mutual benefit. As the formal session ended, representatives gathered in smaller groups to discuss the historic decision. The mood was cautiously optimistic as Council members approached the humans with questions and offers of cooperation. Later that evening, during a celebration dinner, station alarms suddenly blared. Security Chief Krax rushed into the dining hall, his expression grim. "Multiple ships have entered the system," he announced. "Veltraxian warships. They're not responding to hails." The station's main display showed a fleet of 20 Veltraxian vessels approaching Celestia Station. Their weapons were active. "Emperor Zorvex has made his decision," muttered Council Leader Dravek. "He's going to attack rather than accept humans in the Council." The station's defensive systems activated automatically, but everyone knew they wouldn't be enough against a Veltraxian battle fleet. Alan touched a small device on his wrist and spoke quietly. "Defiant, this is Russell. Situation Omega. Respond." Within moments, the space around Celestia Station changed. Where there had appeared to be empty space, 12 human ships suddenly became visible. They had been there all along, hidden by technology the Council couldn't detect. The human vessels moved with incredible speed, positioning themselves between the station and the approaching Veltraxian fleet. Their movements were precise, their coordination perfect. "What are you doing?" asked Council Leader Dravek. "Your ships are outnumbered. Numbers aren't everything," John Patterson replied calmly. On the display, they watched as the human ships engaged the Veltraxian fleet. The Council members expected to see destruction and death. Instead, they witnessed something extraordinary. The human vessels fired weapons unlike anything the Council had seen before. They didn't destroy the Veltraxian ships. They disabled them. Precise energy beams struck weapon systems, engines, and communication arrays. One by one, the Veltraxian warships went dark, drifting powerless in space. Within 15 minutes, the entire Veltraxian fleet had been neutralized without a single ship destroyed or life lost. "We could have destroyed them," John explained as shocked Council members stared at the display. "We chose not to." "Why?" asked Security Chief Krax, his voice barely a whisper. "Because that's not who we are," Alan answered. "Humanity has fought enough wars to know there's no victory in needless death. We defend ourselves when necessary, but we prefer to leave our enemies with their dignity and their lives." The Council chambers fell silent as representatives processed what they had just witnessed. This wasn't just a demonstration of superior technology. It was a demonstration of restraint and values. In that moment, many of the Council members realized they had completely misunderstood humans from the beginning. 1 year later, the Council chamber looked different. The horseshoe-shaped table now had 13 seats instead of 12. The walls displayed artwork from all member worlds, including a painting of Earth's Grand Canyon. Most noticeably, the chamber had been redesigned to accommodate the various sizes and environmental needs of all species, including humans. Frank Nelson, Earth's first official Council representative, stood at the center of the chamber. At 62, Frank had spent decades in diplomatic service. Now he would make history as humanity took its place among the stars. By unanimous vote of the Galactic Council, announced Council Leader Dravek, Earth is granted full membership, status with all rights and responsibilities thereof. The chamber erupted in applause as Frank took his seat at the table. Even Elder Zorkax, who remained on the Council despite his Emperor's disgrace, offered a respectful nod. "As our first official, act with Earth as a member," continued Dravek, "I present the Terran Cooperative Initiative for approval." The initiative, which replaced the now-defunct Protocol Containment, established joint research projects, cultural exchanges, and mutual defense agreements between Earth and all Council worlds. It passed without opposition. In the year since the confrontation with the Veltraxian fleet, much had changed. The disabled Veltraxian ships had been returned to their homeworld with minimal diplomatic consequences. Emperor Zorvex had been removed from power by his own government, replaced by a more moderate leader who recognized the benefits of working with humans. 9 council worlds had established permanent embassies on Earth. Human technology had been implemented on dozens of planets, solving problems that had plagued alien societies for generations. Earth ships now regularly patrolled troubled sectors of space alongside council vessels. After the formal ceremony, Alan Russell stood alone on an observation deck, watching ships from 20 different worlds dock at Celestia Station. Despite being the architect of Earth's entrance onto the galactic stage, he had chosen to remain ambassador at large rather than take the council seat. Mira of the Andorran Republic joined him at the viewport. "You seem quiet on such a historic day," she observed. Alan smiled. "Just thinking about how different things might have been." "If we had succeeded with protocol containment?" she asked. "Or if we had responded with anger when we discovered it," Alan replied. Mira had been one of only 2 representatives who voted against containment from the beginning. This had earned her humanity's trust and respect. "How long had you really known about us?" she asked. "Longer than we admitted," Alan confessed. The crashed ship story was partially true, but we had been observing council activities for nearly 30 years before that. We watched, we learned, and we prepared. For confrontation? For introduction, Alan corrected. We knew eventually we would join the galactic community. We just wanted to do it on our terms. "And the timing of your arrival? Just after our vote?" Mira asked. "Perfect timing, wouldn't you say?" Alan's eyes twinkled. Nothing motivates clarity like being caught in the act. They watched as a new Earth ship, larger than any previous human vessel, docked at the station. Its hull bore the emblem of the United Earth Government alongside the symbol of the Galactic Council. "Your people are remarkable," Mira said. "In 1 year you've changed policies that stood for thousands of years. Some council members still don't understand how you did it." "We didn't want to control the council," Alan explained. "We just wanted a seat at the table." Mira studied him carefully. "And now that you have it?" Alan turned from the viewport to look at the bustling station around them. Humans and aliens worked side by side, learning from each other, building something new together. "Now we do what humans have always done," he said. "We adapt, we grow, we explore." He smiled at the thought of all that lay ahead. New worlds to discover, new challenges to overcome, new friends to make. "The council voted to control humanity," Alan said softly. "Instead, humanity helped the council find a better way forward. I'd call that a fair trade." As the Earth ship completed its docking sequence, a new chapter in galactic history began, one where humanity walked among the stars, not as subjects to be controlled, but as partners in a greater journey.